Hey guys, welcome back to Anna's Guide. This is the perfect time to be filming Finding the Good because I jokingly 35 seconds ago was like, guys, I don't think I'm depressed anymore. What are the chances? Before the Finding the Good episode, I finally clicked back into my normal self. I feel like I have my personality again. I'm feeling alive and well. You want to know what? Now that I'm connecting the dots, so I did have my first cup of coffee today in 3 weeks. So that could also very much be that could I think I found the good, and it was in the cup of coffee I had this morning. And today's episode is all about something that I think is not only so important, but is an underlying tone to so much of my channel and so much of the content that I make. As you guys know, this podcast is inspired by Anna's Guide to Feeling Better After a Breakup. And when I was going through that era of life, I think what really resonated, if I had to like self antidote that era of my life, it's that I feel like when I was going through a breakup, I was still very much looking for the good in life, even though I felt like every other area of my life was falling apart. And everything that I thought that I was working toward or getting better in, or like these strides that I thought I was making toward different areas of my personal life, were kind of like cut at the knee. There was still so many areas in my life that I could look to find ways to be really happy and fulfilled and joyful and excited to keep going. And so for today's episode, I want to talk a little bit more about that mind shift and that looking for the perspective that's just positive and trying to find the good in the bad. And not only that, but to just see your life through a lens that's maybe a little bit brighter than what you normally see. And I'm really excited that I'm also feeling excited and happy and more like myself today. There's a few reasons for that. I'll tease one, and it's that I finished the marathon. But I'm not going to tell you anything about it because I'm not going to spoil it. I have a whole episode that I know that we're planning on for that I'm going to be having my brother come in. We're going to take you 1 mile at a time through our marathon run. I'll be honest, I blacked out like 4 of them, so I'm not sure that I can give every single mile, but we finished it in Honolulu this weekend. I just got back on Tuesday, and I'm feeling a lot. Wait, did I get back on Monday? I got back on Monday? I don't even know. It doesn't even matter. Listen, the good news is that I finished it. The good in that moment is that the war is over. Okay, the training war is over. And I joked with a friend after I finished. I told myself I wasn't going to talk about this, and now I'm literally can't shut up about it because I'm just so excited. I told a friend after I finished the race, I told Danielle, I was like, please, anytime I say I'm running a marathon again, shoot me in the thigh so I can't physically do it. Okay, like stop me by all means possible. And somehow 5 days later, the soreness has lightened up, and I'm like, you know what? I think I could do it again. I think I could do it faster, and I should talk about that in therapy. Okay, so what I'm really excited to talk to you guys about before we get into this is our Rosebud Thorns of the Week. And because I'm gonna stop talking about this marathon, listen. One last thing before I am gonna ride this high as long as it will carry me. Okay, guys, my Rosebud Thorn is honestly, we're going to go for cozy things. Let's start with the fact that my rose of the week is I'm finally decorating for Christmas. I'm really happy that I have garland sitting downstairs that I'm going to be putting on my stairwell. Brew is coming over tonight. We're going to turn on the holiday. We're going to make the tree look beautiful. I actually don't have any ornaments because my parents had them stored at their house because there's just not enough room to store them here. So I think the tree will be bare for a while, and we have 2 weeks till Christmas. But we're putting up the tree tonight. We're watching Christmas movies. I'm going to be decorating. I feel like my house is already getting this like aura of like joy and happiness, and it's starting to feel like Christmas now. I feel like I held out a really long time for it because I was just so focused on a marathon. I swear I'm done. I was just focused on so many other things. I was traveling a lot. I lived in New York for a minute before this too, so I just didn't have time to be home and decorate like I normally am. But this week, my rose is the fact that my tree is up. Or it's not up, but it's going to be. My bud is the fact that I get to go Christmas shopping for the next 2 weeks. I'm so excited. I got to get all my shopping done this weekend and next week. And I had like a little awakening this morning where I got a bunch of good ideas for people's gifts. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what it is because Christmas will have already passed. The people who I'm getting them for will not hear me say this. I feel like I can see a lot of good paint by numbers for Christmas. I feel like that's kind of a vibe. I love Free People cozy sets from Free People Movement. I ran in JoJo lately, which I'm obsessed with their workout sets, so I'm going to see if I can gift that to anybody. And I'm really excited about some like makeup glammy stuff to get the girlies. I feel like that's always the easiest thing, but it makes me happy. So I'm kind of leaning toward that for the girls, and for the boys, honestly, this is random. My mom got my sister's husband this when we were in New York, and it was like a toolkit, not like a boy toolkit, like a passion toolkit. Okay, so my sister's husband loves working on bikes, and so she got him one that he can like put all of his like little like gears and this and that, and like he also loves to draw, so like that he could even put all of his drawing stuff in it. I don't know. I feel like it was a really great idea, and it wasn't a toolkit that was like actually outfitted for like wrenches and like screws and nails and stuff. It was like outfitted for like passion. It's giving she shed but he shed only in a carry-on, and I'm kind of into it. So yeah, those are the gifts that I'm thinking, and I'm gonna keep browsing because I really don't know. I also feel like my dad got UGG slippers from T-Mobile when we were in Vegas, and like tell me why that man is obsessed with UGG slippers now. And it's like a thing that you would never think your dad would need, is like Uggs are kind of bougie for a father. He has not taken them off. It's like actually kind of scary. I hope he's wearing socks with them. Is that like a rule for Uggs? I don't know. Someone has to pass it along. Someone tell Mike. Okay. Anyway, I'm really excited to go Christmas shopping because I feel like that's like the cherry on top of holidays. And my thorn for this week is going to be, I would just say this is like a bittersweet thorn because I feel like there's still good in this, and obviously it's going to be pretty transparent what the good is. We're going to Michigan for Christmas this year. So my thorn is that I just am going away again, but not for a bad thing. It's for literally such a good thing. It's Christmas in Michigan, and it's been snowing so much that I'm like secretly really excited to have Christmas in Michigan because I want to just like lay face down in the snow on Christmas morning. I love it. I'm going out to look for Santa's reindeer's tracks, okay? And listen, you'll find them because there's enough deer in Michigan that I can fake it, and I'm going to tell myself that it's real. So that's looking for the good in the bad, even though I don't get to be home and enjoy the fact that I'm putting up a tree and it will only be up for a week. I still get to have Michigan, and I still get to hopefully have a white Christmas, and I still hopefully am going to be like frigid and cold, but like filled with so much holiday cheer that it's leaking out of my eyeballs, okay? In the form of tears, obviously. And probably sugar because I've had so many hot chocolates today. Guys, Anna's Guide to Finding the Good. I am feeling so good about this episode. And the reason is because this is one of my favorite things to talk about because I think it has had one of the largest impacts on my own personal life. I'm not sure exactly where this mentality came from, and I want to say that it's Modka's fault because she's somebody who in every aspect of my life always looked for the good. Whether like it was through sporting events, through not getting into things that I wanted to get into, through schooling, through getting a bad grade. Okay, every day was a chance to have a learning opportunity, and it really instilled in me this idea that like you can mourn and have bad days and you can have negative things happen, but you can't stay there forever. And the truth is, with finding the good in things, you will realize the impact that it has on your overall life. It's so easy to sit back and be like, oh, I wish all these things were different. I wish I could change X, Y, and Z. I wish that I looked this way. I wish that my boyfriend was like this. And we're going to get into this deeper in the episode that like there's areas of your life where you can do that, and there's areas of your life where you can't. And it's not only letting up a little bit of control, which is something that I have a lot of issues with. It's giving in to having a little bit of trust that there's a higher power that has your back. And that there's the universe and manifestation and visualization and all of these elements of life that are intended to uplift you. I think like one of my favorite things and like advice that I've ever gotten is if it's not good, then it's not the end. And I really believe that like you're going to get to a point where it will all be good, or you will feel good, or you can get to a point where even if it's not, you can still see it. And I think that that's so important in today's life. And when there's so many of these outside variables playing on our minds, whether it's comparative mindsets, whether it's, just, I think that truly is the biggest one in our generation, is that we're sitting on our phone watching all the things that other people are doing so accessibly at our fingertips that it's hard not to sit and be like, why isn't my life like that? Why don't my mornings look like that? And the truth is the person on the other side of the phone might not even be enjoying what they're doing that much. They also might be struggling to find the good, even though their life looks so good from the outside. So there's so much value in being grateful for what's right around you. And I think that this perspective really did come from my mother. She is somebody who just instilled this glass half full mentality, and I've always been that kind of girl. There's also an element to it where it's like I think I kind of had to choose to be really positive and feeling good about stuff, because not that I didn't get my way a lot growing up. That's not a fair thing to say. It's just that, like, even the things that filled my cup and made me passionate weren't always things that I think made me cool or made me feel really accepted. And the only way to, like, really fill my cup was to know that it was about me. And it was about what was making me happy and bringing me joy. And yeah, I think that has, like, a great impact on my, like, long-term life goals, because a lot of times I like look back and I'm shocked at the decisions that I made growing up, like to switch careers, to move to LA. I made all these like really wild, like big life-changing decisions, but it's because I was so sure of myself and I saw the positive potential outcome of every decision. I think it's really easy to look back at our life and say, oh, I see how that happened for a reason. Or, oh my gosh, I see why. You know, think about this. I was like late to work that day and it ended up being, I feel like you hear these like miracle stories of that where it's like, oh, I was late to work that day and it turned out that like the highway I was driving on had an accident. And if I would have been 3 minutes faster, that could have been me. Or, you know, like you hear about those kind of life-changing stories where, you know, something amazing happens out of something that was a little bit out of your control, but steered you a different direction. Even stuff as cute as like, I mean, this is silly, but I like think about things as simple as like Brew and I like genuinely believe that we're intended to have met. We have so many invisible string theories that overlap our lives. And there was moments where I thought about moving to New York for grad school and I thought about moving to LA for grad school, and he almost moved to New York for work and almost moved to LA. And it's like, if the stars didn't align in the way that we did, we would have never crossed each other's paths. There's so many variables that could have crossed and gone wrong and changed, but somehow we still ended up in the right place at the right time. And having that perspective that even if it feels like you're not getting what you want right now, maybe you don't even know how good you could have it if you trust the process in getting what you want. And you can look at that saying and say, okay, but how do I know it's going to work out? And the truth is like, you don't. That's like the whole point, isn't it? Like you're supposed to believe that it could be okay. And finding the good in your daily life, I think, is like the first step to having that better, positive perspective on the overall outcome of what your day, your life, your week, your situation, any aspect of it, just the way that it goes. Okay, and I want to touch back on something too that I mentioned for a second here. It's easy to have hindsight that's 20/20. I think when I was choosing to move out to LA, I kind of talk about this too in my episode about college. So if you guys want to tune into that, you absolutely can go back and listen to that episode where I talk a little bit more about things happening for a reason and why I think that when you're going to school, you really do have to trust that process. But when I was first moving to LA, I had really blind faith that I was doing something that was really going to be good for me. I did not know what it was going to lead me to in the terms of social media career, but I knew that I had just this like very like positive aura about like, there's nothing wrong with taking a step backwards. It's like every decision is like a chance to try something new, you know, and it's kind of shots in the dark because you could make decisions that like derail your life and change the way that you see it. But somehow I still found the good, even in being in LA alone, even having COVID hit. Every one of those negatives led to me having a step towards something greater that I wasn't even prepared for. And when I was going to college, I mentioned that I really wanted to move to LA. I really wanted to pursue going to sports and like going into swimming in a college. And it's interesting because that would have derailed maybe my engineering career and like all these other things. If I didn't go into engineering and then try it out in a med tech space, realized that it wasn't the career path for me, I wouldn't have ended up in LA and I wouldn't have had the chance to start making TikToks because my friends told me about it, and then I wouldn't have had COVID hit and whatever. Okay, maybe all that stuff would have still happened and maybe the universe would have found me back to where I was meant to be. But there's this amazing thing where when I'm looking back on it, I can see I'm like, oh, all those things absolutely happened for a reason. But a time where it's hard to notice it in the moment, and what initially inspired this entire podcast, is Anna's Guide to Feeling Better After a Breakup. When you're in a breakup, you're sad, you're ill, you can't eat, you can't sleep, your heart is being ripped out of your chest. All of those pivotal moments that you thought that you were going to get to experience in your life in the next like 2 years vanished, gone. You're not married by 24. You're not having a kid by 25. I'm not in a lake house in Michigan. I'm not working the career that I thought I was going to do. I'm not doing all of these other like things that I thought at the time were going to be my major pillars of my life. Now, those could be the major pillars of your life. I'm not saying they're not going to be the major pillars. And who knows, maybe in like 3 years, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, I am so glad that I finally got the chance to experience marriage and children and all these things. Maybe, okay, I'm going to give myself 10 years, not 3 years. But anyway, there's these other elements where you kind of realize like, I can look back and say, wow, look at all the incredible things that I've gotten to experience in my individualism because it happened. But in the moment when it's hurting, how do you take that and see the good? And the first thing I think of is my very first Anna's Guide to Feeling Better episode where Anna's Guide to Feeling Better After a Breakup, on TikTok, when I did a voiceover, and what I had kind of mentioned was like, you might be wondering how I'm feeling better. And the truth is that like, there's still days that it sucks. But on the days that it's good, I can realize that like, just like time has gone by, and it might not feel like much has changed because I'm still hurting, my roots are growing out. And my plants in my room are getting greener and like their little leaves are getting bigger. And my relationship with my parents is suddenly better. And also I redecorated my bedroom. And also like I have so many new friends on social media. And it's so interesting because in that moment, on the same day that it's happening, I had a realization of all the good things that are going on. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. There's no losing in a breakup. If you're going through a breakup right now, you're either going to find out that you're meant to be with that person, you're going to do everything you can to be with them, or you're going to find out that you're not, and you're going to find somebody even better than them for you, okay? So if you're sitting there in a breakup right now, like, there's nothing good, I'm lonely and I'm sad and I don't have anybody and I just want somebody to get me a Christmas present, trust that it's going to work itself out exactly as it's intended to. Because in my opinion, that's exactly what happened. And I think that, like, it's okay to be sad and it's okay to have bad days because you kind of have to have those low points to be able to be like, okay, but look at how good this feels on top of it. If everything single day is great and wonderful and perfect and fantastic, the second that anything derails that, holy crap, it's going to feel like the world is ending. You know, you kind of need to have a baseline of like, this is my pain tolerance. You know what I mean? Like, this is where I'm starting from. Look at how much we can grow from here. So when you're going through a breakup, I feel like I often think about the fact that it can be so sad and be so hurtful and so painful, but like, look at the people around you who are supporting you through this moment in your life. If you're trying to say, you're like, let's do this exercise right now all together. Whether you're in a breakup, whether you're going through a transition in your job, whether your relationship is on the rocks, whether you are about to go into the holiday season and you're actually not that excited about it because like, what is there to be excited about? Or maybe you're sitting at home and you're just like, I'm kind of just feeling like this is like not really my season. I'm in an era where I just feel very stagnant. And I'm going to tell you guys about the way that I felt about that because I literally just had that last week in therapy. I said in my therapy session, I feel like I'm sitting in the exact same spot I was sitting a year ago. Okay? If you are in any of those emotions, I want you to sit and think about the people who are around you that you don't even know really exist or that you don't even take note of on your daily life. Okay? I want you to think about like the people who texted you this morning, maybe the people who texted you last night, maybe the people who just simply swiped up on your story. And you might think that they're just doing that out of the kindness of your heart, or out of their heart, but maybe they really do like have love for you and they're thinking about you. I want you to think about if you woke up in a bed this morning, if you had a good breakfast, maybe you grabbed a cup of coffee. I want you to look at the way that it's sunny outside, or maybe it's cloudy outside. It feels like the perfect weather for reading. I want you to think about if you have a fireplace, how cozy it would be if you turned it on tonight and just sat and was in the warmth of the fireplace while you watched one of your favorite Christmas movies like The Old Grinch or Home Alone or Christmas with the Cranks or The Holiday, because that's what I'm going to be watching. I want you to think about maybe if you got the chance to journal lately. I feel like that always has such a good impact on my life. Whenever I journal, I end up finding all the things that I'm really thankful for. I feel like in the last couple of days, I've been really thankful for my body and for its healing and the fact that it feels good. Think about the fact that you don't have a sore throat right now. That's incredible, okay? And if you do have a sore throat, I'm thinking about you and it's going to go away, I promise. There's so many moments that I think like it's easy to overlook what's good right now because not only do we have a phone in our hands that's telling us what everybody else has going good, but we also are thinking that good things only come in big doses, and they don't. Good things come in little doses. Good things come in the fact that my coffee mug says cozy season. I love that, okay? Because yes, you know what? Period. You don't even need to know anything else except for that. That's how I'm feeling right now. I'm like thankful for the fact that I just get to like sit on this couch and listen and talk to you. Think about how great it is that you have music on your phone, okay? I remember when I had to do YouTube to MP3. I'm going to sound like a grandma and download it from the internet. And then I had to name every song individually in my little iPod. And I had to borrow my dad's computer. And then one day he found out that I had bad songs on it that had the F word in it. And then he made me give my iPod back to him so he could go through and delete all my songs that had the F word in them. The good in it? Still finding it. But like, listen, there's so much good. You know what I mean? And it's so easy to sit and be like, okay, listen, and these are serious things, okay? I'm not going to sit here and say this isn't a serious thing or that, like, there's elements of this that are, like, yes, we can live in the state of Delulu that everything is wonderful and rainbows grow on trees, okay? But this season can be a stressful season. It can be a holiday season where, like, you're stressed about money, you're stressed about getting gifts, you don't know how to treat the people that you love, you can't spoil them to the extent that you want to because, like, shit's hard. And, like, you still have to live and take care of yourself, okay? But sometimes the best things in life are things that don't even cost money and that are free. My favorite gift, somebody asked me recently, my favorite gift was for the holidays, and I literally said, like, the sand that my boyfriend picked up on the ground from the beach that we had our first date on. Shocking. He's gotten me very nice gifts. That's still my favorite thing that he's ever done because the story that came with it, when he came to tell me about the sand that he got, he was like, I just knew you were special, and I will carry that with me for the rest of my life. I just want to say, like, there's so many ways that you can be impactful and wonderful and see the good and be good in other people's lives that you don't even realize you have the opportunity to be like that. And that's how I want to be. When I make my content, when I make my videos, if you really deeply think about it, like, what I'm providing you with is, like, the goal is providing you with, like, a little bit of entertainment and a little bit of vibes. Okay? That's all I ever want to be. I just want to be your friend. I want to make videos that make you feel good. I want you to leave being better than you were before you got to me on the internet. And even if I only do that for one person every single day, shit, I did my job. And that's the job that I've made up for myself in my own head. There's no one telling me that I have to do that every day, but that's what makes me feel really good. Because when I leave, I say, oh my gosh, how good was it that I made a video that I was proud of today, that I know made me feel good to make, and hopefully made somebody feel good to see. I don't know where that's going, but that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm just talking right now, and I hope that the eardrums are liking it. Okay. We're going to keep talking because now I have a notepad that I have to return to because I'm getting distracted. Okay. Now, during that little exercise, if you were someone who's sitting there saying that you feel like you're stuck, like nothing's changed from the last year, there's a couple things that we have to talk about, okay? Because I also feel this way often from time to time, which I think that's because I look at my life under a microscope at times. I got told once in biology, my freshman year of high school, that I had tunnel vision, okay? My ninth grade biology teacher told me that I was someone who had tunnel vision, that often when I looked at things, I struggled to open my eyes enough to see outside of them. That kind of stuck with me, obviously, now that I'm still bringing it up, and I'm like, what? How long ago was that? Probably 15 years ago, he said that to me. I still think about it. Because I think that I can look at one tiny, minute corner of my life and say, oh my gosh, this is still the same, nothing has changed. And somehow think that that is a theme for the rest of the things that's gone on. It even sounds wrong coming out of my life. When I actually look at my life and I go, holy crap, how ungrateful of me to have said that, I think that immediately. Because I was sitting with the girlies who are all in this room with me right now that you can't see on the other side of the camera. We were laughing downstairs when I was telling them about what I was going to talk about today. They were like, okay, started a podcast this year. Let's start there. You guys are all here with me right now because of this year. This started 6 months ago? That's crazy. Who would have thought that I would have had a podcast a year ago? That's not the same. Also, not to bring it up again, I ran a marathon. Okay? Another thing. 2 triathlons. I made a new friend this year. And someone who I would consider is going to be a lifetime friend of mine. Which is in my adulthood, unheard of. So hard to find. How lucky am I that I got to cross paths with somebody? And that's one of those things too. Right place, right time. What are the chances that she literally lives in my boyfriend's building and saw me walking out to my car? And now I get to show up at her house all the time because she lives in my boyfriend's building. Dream. Anyway, shout out Danielle. That's who that is. Also, I think that I found things that aren't always on the outside. I have so much better balance this year. I think I'm getting better at saying no. I'm also working on my mental health. I also go to therapy. And it's funny because what I had said, I haven't changed. I said to my therapist, and she goes, do you feel that way because you feel like you're not getting like better in these sessions, or like, and then I like got really stressed that I like upset her. But she was like, no, she's like, I feel like if, you know, you feel like you haven't found like different things that are making you feel better, then like we should talk about that. But like also I want you to think about like all the things you're kind of looking at one element and assuming that that is a portrayal of what your whole year looks like. And that's true. And it's bad of me because that's, I like, as quickly as I can sit here and tell you that I have advice for you to like find the good and stuff, I can sit here and be judgmental of my own life and not even be able to find the good on a day-to-day basis in my own. And I know that there is so much good, an overwhelming amount of good, so much good that sometimes I have trouble coming up with a thorn when I have so many roses. That's how life should be. That's how I should be. And I'm even bad about it. And I'm still learning how to do the same things that I'm preaching to you. That's the point of Anna's Guide. It's not me having all the answers. It's us navigating them together. But not all of your growth is going to be visible. And not all your change is going to be on the outside. You know? It's going to be inside of here. It's going to be right in here. Okay? So I love that my voice shook a little bit when I did that. Like that felt like therapeutic for some reason. That was like a lot of anger that I needed to get out of there. So keep that in mind, that like you can look at your life and be like, I'm still in the same apartment. I still have the same friends. I'm still in the same city. I'm still in the same job. I didn't change. Nothing's different. I'm the same. Everything is the same person. Everything is the same. But think about like the way your connections have grown. Dude, your hair's probably gotten longer unless you chopped it off. And then you want to know what? Your hair got shorter. Still change. See the good. Maybe you found your individual style a little bit more. Maybe you cleaned out your closet. Maybe you have a game plan for what's coming up in the future. Every growth needs a plateau. You know what I mean? You got to have like these areas, even they're still going to be a little, they're like this. They might be a little bit like this maybe. And that's okay too. Cause then you'll just get the sharper one on the way. The degree angle that goes in here is going to be like, you know, I'm just saying. I just want to make sure that I take it home to you guys that it's not always about what you see on the outside. And I think that's also why it's important not to compare yourself online to what you see and think that your life might not be good because it might not look like somebody else's. That's also not fair for you. Your life is good. And the people who are also sharing life, as someone who shares their life and can say, I share a lot of positive and can still feel this way, you'd be surprised. Like, it's difficult at times to like see the good in your own life when you sometimes feel like you're just, I don't know. I really do think that like I woke up from like a little bit of a seasonal blue. You know what I mean? And right now I'm like, holy crap, I can't believe like I took these notes and wrote this down and like felt this way. And I'm like, get your shit together, woman. See the good. There's so much good. There's so much joy that you haven't even gotten to experience yet. Oh, how bad of me. That wasn't very holly jolly of me. But now, I said this before, and it's, how do you practice this? How do you implement this idea of finding the good? And this is where I'm actually going to hold my notebook a little bit closer, because I think that what I wrote down is exactly what I'm feeling in this moment. It's the fact that you need to trust, okay? Trust that there is something out there for you, and trust that everything that happens is happening for a reason. And if it's not happening for a reason, you're not going to know. You're not going to know if it could have gone better. You're only going to know the way that it went. So you might as well just live in that. It's almost like living more presently, if anything. It's like finding positive by being more okay with it. And as someone who my like greatest issues land in trust and control, I just think that there is so much benefit to like, I'm going to say letting loose a little bit, and everybody's going to laugh at me because everybody that I've ever talked to tells me that I don't let loose enough. But trusting this like idea that it's going to happen. Okay? And with that being said, I want to say something very important. I have two things that I really want to take home to you. Okay? I want you, if you leave this episode with nothing but this, I'm happy. Okay? Number one, you do in fact have control. You can let loose and say, that's okay. In the same way that you can say you don't have control, you also do. And I'm going to give you an example. Spilling your coffee all over your outfit because somebody bumped into you and ruined it. Okay? Out of your control. How you react to that moment? Absolutely in your control. That's a cheesy one. We've heard it before. Having a shitty boyfriend. In your control. You can go and find a better boyfriend. Okay? But finding a soulmate, not in your control. Okay? It might take a little while. It might be on the apps. It might be in the wild. It might be your best friend's brother. I don't know. Okay? It could be anybody. Or a girlfriend. I'm going to leave this open-ended. It could be anybody. You can't control when you're going to find the people that are meant for you. But you can use the era of singleness to find yourself. That's something you can control. Okay? Somebody doing you dirty, out of your control. Their actions, not yours. There's nothing you would have done that would have made them a better person. What you can control, cutting it out of your life and saving that space for being better for yourself. Saving that space for somebody who values you. Saving that seat for someone who deserves a spot at your table. All in your control. So, as quickly as it's easy to say, let loose, let it happen, whatever, there's a fair amount that you can control. Okay? And I think about that when you're trying to find the good in stuff, okay? If you're looking around yourself and you're saying, oh my gosh, I don't have the amount of money that person has, I don't have the following that they have, I don't have the car, I don't have the house that they have, there's an element of that that's out of your control. And there's an element of that that's in your control. And I'm also going to leave you with the second thing. If you don't find the good, you will find the bad. Or the bad will find you. Because I believe in visualization, I believe in manifesting, I believe in praying, and I think that the world and the environment that you build for yourself up in here is the environment and the world that you're going to build for yourself right here. Exactly what you see in your head is what you're going to see in the people around you. And what's even shocking is you're going to attract people who see it the way that you see it in your head. It's horrible. It sounds bad, I know. But that's why it's so important. Like, it's okay to have bad days, and it's okay to have negative moments in your life. It's okay to mourn. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to be dark. It's okay to but we also do have to remember that means that there's good things coming. The sun always rises in the morning, okay? And it sets in the evening, and then it gets dark again, okay? And that's going to happen. But I mean it with the deepest part of my soul that, the world that you envision yourself in and the world that you talk about and the world that you tell people about in your own world. I'm not talking about the actual world. I'm talking about the one that we're existing in. That's have you heard the phrase, the word sonder? It's that everybody's living in their own individual realities and they're all happening at the exact same time. As I'm sitting here on my couch talking to you, it's weird to think that I exist, okay? But I know that you exist either in your car or in your room or on your hot girl walk with your headphones in your ears, and maybe you're going to class. Your reality looks so remarkably different than my reality. And that's the idea of Sonder, that all of these lives are happening and we're all having our own individual experiences, okay? In that world and in that experience, you can see the good or you can see the bad. And it will be what you see. I think you have control over that. The number of times that I looked in the mirror and I said, your job is going to just be to bring joy and make people happy. And people always tell me, oh my gosh, you have just such a happy energy. I always just knew that was what I was intended to be and intended to do and intended to make. My love for film and photography maybe expedited the process and got a little more reach and got it to different areas and put it on different mediums. But I always knew, I always saw the world like a shiny, happy ball of sunshine. Because that's what I wanted to be in. The corner of the internet that I created is what I wanted to be in. What corner do you want to be in? Where do you want to be? What do you want your world to look like? Because you start here when you're building it. Did that feel nice? I hope that felt nice. I hope that was music to your ears a little bit, especially going into the holiday season, and we have so many exciting things. This episode goes live at the beginning of January, which means that you guys might be deep in your New Year's resolutions. I hope this helps inspire how you build your world for the next year. 2025, y'all. That's a big one. That's a whole number. That's it ends in a 5. It's a big deal. 5 and a 0 I feel are big deals. This is a big deal. And I can't wait to see what you do with it. And I'm also can't wait to see what you do with finding the good in the bad. And we asked that over on my Instagram. If you guys don't follow me or my podcast page over at Anna X Sitar or at the Anna Guide on Instagram and TikTok, I post on the days that I record a question and you guys get the chance to call in and answer and be a part of this podcast. And so let's hear how you guys are finding the good and the bad with the first caller.
Hey Anna, it's Kendall. I
Hi,
love your
Kendall.
podcast, love your videos. You're just an amazing gal. And in about 7th or 8th grade, I had to choose between doing cross country or a musical. And I knew I really loved music, and it was a really hard decision, but I had to choose. And it was either do cross country with my friends or do the musical with no one I knew. And I chose the musical, and I got like a fun part, and I kept doing theater, and now I'm a music major, and it totally like kind of jump started my future career. So that was a good thing where it was really hard to make that decision to be not with my friends, but I made more friends and it ended up okay. Congrats on
Wait.
your marathon. Hope
Thank
you're doing
you.
well. Bye.
Okay, wait, Kendall. Wait, can I tell another story based off of this story because this is crazy. First off, I love that. That's a great example of the good and the bad because I'm sure in the moment, like that was probably like one of your little why moments. You know what I mean? Like we've talked about why moments before. It's, the break in the road, not why like the question, why like the shape. You had to pick between either path and like look at how it led you to the career that you're in now and like what you want to be when you grow up. Incredible. A work of art. I had the same thing happen when my mom was like my senior year of high school. I was in dance and I really wanted to audition for a play and she made me choose. And I'm going to say my story did not end as joyful. I was like, okay, then I'm doing the play because I've done dance for like at this point. I don't know if I've ever said this on a podcast. I've done this for like 14 years. So like if you guys think I can't dance, the secret is I kind of can. But what's funny is she was like, you have to pick between one of the two. I've done dance for so long, I need to do theater and try something new. And I was like in the audition process to get Cinderella in Cinderella, and I was like getting callbacks and stuff. And then it went to someone else, and I wasn't in the play at all. And then I lost both, and I was like, the do I do now? Okay, and I don't know the good in that story. Listen, it never scared me from wanting to do acting though, and now I'm still auditioning. And you know what? Maybe it gave me a little bit of tougher skin. That's what I'm gonna say was the good in that moment. But I'm really happy that it led you to something so good and that you got like a fun part and you got to pursue it further. And I feel like similarly, like you probably imagined your world like that, and then you got to be surrounded by people who saw their world the same way and got to like, oh, you're building your space. I love it. Okay, stunning. Let's hear another one.
Hi, Anna. It's Amanda. I
Hi,
just saw
Amanda.
your Instagram story, and it said when you found a good time in the bad. And I just wanted to say that my boyfriend and I have been together for 5 years this coming Christmas.
Mm.
And lately we've been going through a hard time. We were trying to buy a house, but that's not working out. And his business that he has, the whole thing with the landlord's been happening, so we have to move. But so all these bad things are happening, and I just wanted to say that in the good of that, we have been the best relationship. Like it brought us
Oh,
together
stop.
and better as a
I just gave
couple
me chills.
together, and me growing up, being better as a person, him being better. So I guess that's the only way that I could see us being good in the bad. But yeah, just wanted to say I love you. Have
I
a good
love
day.
you.
Bye-bye.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait, that just made me kind of teary-eyed. I think that's so beautiful that like you have each other. Like that is literally all you need is like that's your good. That makes me so happy. Honestly, like I know it makes me sad because I can only imagine like that process is so also the house buying process, the market right now, going through just trying to get like loans and it's sorted and things go on and off the market so fast and everything that you want isn't always there and then it's like do you commit to something that you're like paying top dollar for that's not what you want. I can only like that process. I absolutely understand the struggle of it and I'm thinking about you and hoping that you find something good and maybe you get some like Christmas miracle magic. Um but having each other really is like the most important thing. I can like not even to bring up the marathon. The person we're gonna talk about is my little brother, and he did the marathon with me. And I like will genuinely say like that day was that's one of the hardest things I've ever done. And like getting to do it with someone that you love and like having someone to cheer you on through it is like the ultimate cure and the way that you can see the good. And that's when like that's the first thing I turn to when I'm having a bad day is like okay, but like the people around me love me and like I'm showing up for them. And even if like all these worldly things aren't working, like that's really where the value ends up being is like with the people that you love. And that makes me happy that you guys have each other to lean on. And happy 5 years. That's so exciting. Oh, Okay, Amanda. Thank you. I appreciate you for calling in too off the story. And I appreciate you guys all for being here and listening to this week's episode. Don't forget to go and subscribe and thumbs up and comment and give some love to my YouTube page where you can find the podcast and the video versions of all of these episodes. You can also follow along everywhere that you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Music, the good stuff. And don't forget to follow along my personal page at Anna X Sitar over on Instagram and TikTok, and the podcast page at The Anna Guide on Instagram and TikTok as well. I am so happy that you're here, and I can't imagine this world without you. You're exactly where I want to be when I'm building my world, and I'm looking forward to another year of incredible advice from both of us, because I feel like I get all of my good ideas from you guys, and another year of getting to share this world together. I'm so happy that I'm alive at the same time as you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Love ya.